are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Wow. Oh, coffee. I love you. I really, really, really love coffee. I just want to say that one more time. I really, 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 really love coffee. Oh, good morning, America, and the rest of the world, too. It is Friday, December 29th, 2023. This year is done. Well, sort of. We got 2 hours to fill here with nonsense. It's casual Friday. I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I don't care today. I just don't care. It's the end of the year. My work is in. My work has been done. I feel like mailing this one in. But we have a good show for you today. Actually, author Jordan Brody, who's a sci-fi author and a musician, will be here at 9:15. Then at 10 or thereabouts, Emma Kay will be back, and then Melvin Hayes, comedians both. And maybe we'll have a few laughs. I call this show New Year's resolutions. I don't even know. My resolution is to live until I die. That's my resolution. I'm going to try to make it through the year. That doesn't seem like too lofty a goal, to make it through the year in 2024. Just to make it, just to be alive this time next year. I feel like, is that not enough? Do I need to actually do something? Do I need to actually make some changes, make my life better somehow? Is that what it takes to please you? What could I do? What could I do to make you happy in your judgment of me as my New Year's resolution comes up? What could I do? Is there anything I could do to make you more tolerant of me? Probably not. Probably not. But if you let me, I'll be glad to take suggestions in the chat room all day, and we'll be talking about that. Like, I know I have lots of faults, but can they be corrected? This is the issue. And answer is probably not. Probably not. We all know I'm not good at improving, getting better at anything. Obviously, I've been doing this a long time. It's not getting better. I blame Bill, and GD. Bill is not here, by the way. Bill is missing. I'm not going to pay the bill. That's absolutely positive. I'm not going to pay the bill. I don't pay my bills. But Bill is not here, and I don't know why. He didn't text message me, didn't message me on Facebook, or maybe he did message me on Facebook. I didn't check. No, there's no messages there. So we just didn't get to Bill. And that's fine. If you live under a rock, then you probably live in Iran. It's Friday. It's the end of the year. Did I mention that? If you live without paying attention to such things as the news, and even if you try to not pay attention to the news, you probably know. If you don't, What do you do? Do you just you put your hands over your ears and blinders over your eyes? Trump has been kicked off the main ballot. The main ballot, not the main ballot. The main ballot, the state of Maine, for participating in an insurrection. The Republicans obviously are not happy about that. They should be. They really should be. This is your chance to take back your party, take back your life, take back what you believe in. The Republican Party stands a better chance of winning the next election without Donald Trump. That's absolutely true. Now, he might win, but the chances are still better without him. Everything, they have everything to gain by letting this happen and nothing to gain by keeping Trump around. Nothing except keeping themselves in bondage and beholding to a blackmailing, extortionist, fat, diaper wearing, stinky, fucking low life. One of the worst people who ever lived. You can stay under his thumb, or you can get out from under it, and you can celebrate getting out from under it. No, you just you believe that he is the only one that can save you from the evil Joe Biden. Truth is, just about anybody on that side would stand a decent chance against Biden, especially with RFQ siphoning off some of the lunatic fringe votes. So anyway, that's in the news, and there's going to be more. And I would urge my Republican friends out there: don't fight it. Don't fight it. Enjoy it. Celebrate it. And realize, because what you're saying when you think that Donald Trump is your only one is that all of you look at each other and say, boy, we all suck. We all suck. We all suck. There's nobody good here. Nobody is worth his shit here. We have one man only. He wears a diaper. He cheats at everything he does. He lies like a rug. He even lies about his fucking height and weight. He's the only one that can save us. Well, good luck with that. Anyway, yesterday, we learned a couple of things. We learned that having a white beard, a big white Santa Claus beard, does not equate with wisdom. Well, most of us probably knew that already, but we had it reconfirmed yesterday. We also learned that GD. It doesn't take a lot for GD to lose his cool over a white beard guy who thinks he's wise beyond his years, but isn't. And we also learned that nobody's going to really care about obscure proposals that come out of left field from political pundit wannabes. And one more thing that we learned, or I learned, is that AI will take the side of the lunatic fringe. See, and I kind of had talked about this earlier in the week, or started to talk about this. My thinking about intelligence, not just human intelligence, but artificial intelligence. And we tend to think of intelligence as a quantifiable thing by a number, IQ, intelligence quotient, as it's a flat, one-dimensional thing, but it's not. And as we move into a world of artificial intelligence, one thing we know for certain right now is artificial intelligence. The smarter it gets, doesn't, or the more capable the machines get, doesn't get them any closer to the truth. And you can see this all in every aspect of AI. If you work with it at all, it will produce stuff based on what it's finding in data. And the more data you feed it, the more it wants to go off on its own and become rogue. This is definitely what we're seeing. So basically, the more resources you give the machine, the more it will use those without being prompted to go out and get more information to create a new narrative for you. But Leo Kottke, uh, folk musician, writer, I remember him once saying that creativity is always uh, the the product of a lie. He said when he first heard his kid creating music, and when he was young, he said, or telling him a lie. He said he realized he had an artist. All art is not necessarily based on lies. It's based on truth, but it incorporates lies. And uh, maybe you don't subscribe to that philosophy, but it is very clear in AI that it is not. It does not have a handle on the truth. So intelligence is a very multidimensional thing. It's not just a flat thing. And there's a lot of information that mankind has accumulated over the years. Some of it, lots of it, it's just plain bullshit. And machines have not gotten the ability to discern what was real and what was not real. So it just kind of creates on its own. And so AI, at least for the editing purposes of the videos yesterday, went out of its way to make Jack Decker look like the smart one in the conversation yesterday. And listen, we didn't offer much pushback. GD was the only one who really pushed back hard on him. I pushed back slightly just because, first of all, I knew there was no change. The minute he started saying the election of 2020 was stolen, I knew this is a mind that is closed and comes to conclusions void of evidence. So there's no point in really arguing with somebody like that, because everybody who believes the 2020 election was stolen believes that based on one thing, a lie they were told by Donald Trump, and nothing else. They have nothing else to base that on. Where you have a mountain of evidence that says no. You have people who've reviewed it, judges appointed by himself, that say no, that didn't happen. You have so many cases of and mountains of evidence that say it the other way, but you can draw that conclusion the opposite. And so, if somebody is of that mindset that they will paint themselves into a position based on no evidence, what is the point of really arguing with them about the premise that they are proposing? And let's face it, I read that amendment proposal, 5 articles, or was it 6 articles of an amendment proposal, and nobody who is contacting me who heard that thought it made any sense at all, or even addressed the issue that it was supposed to be addressing. But AI took all that edited videos that make it seem like he was presenting. It's amazing that we have created these tools that can make make it seem like he was presenting a rational, well thought out argument. Mind blowing. So I have all these reels now, and I'm like, man, do I want to be the king of misinformation? Do I want to put this stuff out there to really, be part of everything that is wrong in the world, just for more clicks and views on YouTube and maybe a few more dollars? I laugh like that little evil laugh, because yes, I do. It's the only way a business, oh, man, think about what I just said. And what I was about to say. The only way a business can survive is by paying a bribe to one of the biggest media conglomerates in the world, to give them bullshit, nonsense content that really it is not content. It has no substance to it. It has nothing, no meaning. Giving them a ton of that so that they will put that out there, get children or even adults addicted to it like it's, I don't know, ecstasy in uh, elementary schools. Get them addicted to really soft, empty content so that they will send more people to my channel so I'll get more views on the content. It's a backwards, crazy world we live in. But one of the main culprits from yesterday is here with me. Good morning, GD.
Good morning. Mind Dog Coffee. End your year and start your new year with Mind Dog Coffee and tea. Mind
Oh,
Dog
I
Coffee.
like that. And tea. I hate tea, by the way. But we sell it because we just established that I'm a corrupt bastard who just will do anything for $1. I'm a prostitute, really.
Oh, okay. Well, speaking of prostitutes, I want to sell my critical joke theory. So just remind, because just to let you know, I have one for today.
All right.
Speaking of prostitutes, I'm
Okay.
selling myself.
All right. Well, that was good. I didn't realize that that's what that was. That didn't feel like the kind of prostitution that I do every day.
Well, there are many kinds of prostitutes. It's
levels.
It's like comedy. It's just all kinds of prostitutes.
Well, if you know anything about prostitution,
and I don't know anything about comedy either. So,
what do you feel about AI making you and I look like the puzzled ones, and Jack Decker looking like a professor?
Well, thank God I was too busy, and
I only posted one reel, and it was not that much yet, so you wouldn't have seen it.
Okay, because I haven't seen it yet, but I didn't. I suspected it because AI, it's not. Well, it's artificial intelligence, not common sense. So
it doesn't have a grasp on the truth. It doesn't.
Right.
It doesn't. It's like, because you can feed it a lot of information, but it doesn't really ever take the time to really question things in a really open mind. It just accepts everything.
It's like a child. It's just like a child. And if you raise a child to believe that Santa Claus is real and the Easter Bunny is real and the Sandman is real, then guess what? You're going to have a screwed up child if no one ever, especially if he never, ever learns the truth. And even then, it's going to be hard for him to let go of the lie. He's going to be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I used to get all those toys from Santa Claus, so.
I'm trying to think of the comedian's name. I could see his face so clearly. Man, I hate getting old. I really do. Comedian who's got a reel out about atheism. And you just reminded me of it because he was definitely brought up on this idea that anybody who questions the creation story is an atheist who believes in nothing, that nothing created the world. And it's like, no, that it's not a black and white situation where either you believe in the old man in the sky with the big beard living in the clouds who's going to welcome you and loves you, but is going to judge you and all that kind of stuff. You either accept that 100%, or you're an atheist who believes nothing created the world. And that's a bullshit premise you're starting with, first of all, because I never heard any physicist say nothing created the world. I heard him say, Big Bang stuff. I heard him say elements contract and expand and all that. None of them ever said, well, there was nothing, and then these elements just magically appeared. So it's a bullshit premise to start with. Somebody's calling in. Can't call. We're not taking calls.
Okay. Because you did invite that other person to call in. I can't remember who it was, and you said, "Yeah, call in tomorrow. I'll let you."
That was 2 days ago. He didn't call in.
That was 2 days ago. Oh, okay, man, Lord.
Anyway, so yeah, Willie just texted me. By the way, I mean Bill. Bill just texted me. I'll be there in just a few. Probably his sound.
Oh, so that's not his replacement in the room waiting.
No,
that's not That's not the left-hander.
No, that is our guest waiting to come in now.
Okay.
This is Jordan Brody. Jordan Brody is a trained musician and avid follower of science fiction. He's got a Can I talk? Can I talk?
Sure,
A day.
John.
I can't. His debut book, Arcanist, which is obviously not really a word, is an epic sci-fi saga. It takes place in the universe, Earth losing light, which explains the dark cover I'm going to show you in 1 minute. Welcome, Jordan Brody, to Coffee with the Dog.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Hey.
Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Well, I'm sorry. This is a family show. You cannot work topless, Jordan.
Oh.
You can't work topless. You have to.
Yeah.
No, he's got no forehead.
Let me
He's
There
working
you
Let me
go.
see here. There we go. There we
Thank
go.
you.
I was thinking maybe you.
We have kids watching this show. You're not going to do it topless.
I was thinking maybe he had the same haircut as me and just wasn't as proud of it as.
No, I still got it. I still got it.
Yeah, you still got it. You just weren't showing it. You still got it. You just weren't showing it.
Yeah. Musician. Let's start there. What do you trained musician? What do you do?
So basically I compose classical music off the keyboard. So
Wow.
I work off of an Apple. I work through FL Studios and I create orchestrations. Kind of think of like Hans Zimmer kind of music like that. It's something that I've been doing my whole life, and I love it.
So for self distribution or for to be used in other stuff like theater, films, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, both.
Yeah. So I did. So basically, I wrote my music for my book, but if people want to use it for something else, I mean, that's fine. I have it for free, so it's not like I'm charging for it.
You wrote music for a book. I think that's pretty unusual. The book, Arcanist. Am I pronouncing that right? First of all, that's your made-up word. So you described the.
So it's pronounced Arcanist.
Arcanist. That's what I figured. I figured I had it wrong. I didn't figure how it was pronounced. I figured I had it wrong. All these sci-fi terms. Every time somebody comes out with a sci-fi book, the title is always something they made up and I can't pronounce.
Yeah.
That's the goal. As a matter of fact, that's what they do. They word search words that Matt cannot pronounce, and then they say, "This is what we're going to call it."
What we learned this morning is debut would be a good one. I can't pronounce that.
Doing the butt.
Yeah, debut. Yeah.
Now I mentioned the cover of the book. It's very dark, but of course it's about a dark story. Give us a little insight into what the whole gist of the book is.
Yeah. So the gist of the book, just first of all, it's something I want it to be completely original. So it's its own universe. So I want you to think of like a Star Wars. Has nothing to do with Earth. Or anything like that. It's original, just like its name itself. So, there's a lot of sci-fi words in there, that people love. I mean, that's what science fiction people love, is that originality when it comes to making up a universe in itself. But to give you the gist, it's about a space hunter. Think of like like a samurai, something of a sacred profession in the galaxy that accepts professional missions, tracking targets across hostile lands. He's ruthlessly eliminating them and gathering information for his clients. But on a daring encounter on an alien moon, he discovers someone he could trust, but also a tantalizing secret. He has the secret prophecy that's called Starfall, which the galaxy is dying. So he comes across this ancient prophecy, and then he realizes that he has to stop this prophecy. So he has to give up his most sacred profession, which is something you cannot do. And he becomes one of the most hunted warriors across the entire galaxy. And inside this prophecy is a hidden code by his antagonist, who's ruthlessly slaughtering across the galaxy, trying to find this code himself. And his name is Zin, who's, think of like a space Viking. He's huge. He's got the long hair. He's one of the greatest warriors in the galaxy. So the main character Darius has to basically outskill and use every courage he can to stop the galaxy from dying and stop Zin from taking over.
Now, did you say Zin or Vin?
Zin with a Z.
I laugh because Zin is banned from this program. He's one of the guys who is he
Oh, okay.
well, he's an antagonist in my world. Let's put it that way. So I think that's funny. Anyway, so this idea.
I have to remove myself from the screen for a little bit. My workers have just arrived. I have
All
to get
right,
them set up.
get out. That was an abrupt leave. Anyway, so this is pretty interesting. Now, prophecy, and the idea of stopping a negative prophecy from being fulfilled is kind of like goes back to mythology. A lot of I got the book in a bad place now. I got to remove the book, but a lot of mythology is based on those kind of ideas. Is it time travel? It's not time travel though, right? It's not like having advanced notice of things.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I have certain elements inside the book that lead you to believe there is time travel, a little bit of AI. There's also self-realization, inevitability. So there are some different elements that come into play, but those are things I want the reader to find out. But
Right.
yes,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because a lot now, part of that whole thing is the bigger consequences of doing things like if I take, and I know your book is not about this, but I'm just using this as an example. If we use time travel to go back and right some wrongs of the past, the
Yeah.
the fallout and the extra parts of that we didn't take into account when thinking about, like, say, going back and killing Hitler, and what that might mean to in everything that he would have touched in his life. When you're writing a book like that, does that kind of, like, I don't know, for me, I know this is a really awkward way of asking this question, but to me, it would clutter my mind with the endless possibilities, and where do you settle on one? Is that a challenge for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it took me years to think about. I mean, that's his antagonist. That's his main vision, and his main goal in the entire book is to right these wrongs, and he believes that he can do that. So he's taking that impossible path to try to figure out, can I right these wrongs and go through the past? But in doing so is going to destroy the galaxy. It's dying because of it. So that's where that point you brought up is, can he stop this prophecy from happening? So on one end, he's trying to stop that inevitability, and the other end, it's the same thing. They're the antithesis of each other.
Right. Do you feel like, and without giving the book away or any of the story, or giving the ending away here, do you feel like it reaches resolution, or does it lead to a series?
So the book is part of a series. So yeah.
To me, it's really hard to end a book. From the writing perspective, and from the reading perspective too. But it always feels like this story should go on. It's like a really good movie that you get involved in. You're like, but it could go on. But for the business, you have to end it at some point. But it always feels like it should go on, and then they always become serious. So I was curious to hear your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is tough to end the book. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So are you working? Are you working on part 2 or whatever the sequel is now? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's 3 books in total for this series of books, and I have them all written. I'm just going through the other 2 books and kind of polishing them up and editing them.
All right. Personal question here now. It's new. By the way, Happy New Year. It's the end of the year show, and it's Casual Friday. I wore just a sweatshirt, and I just feel like just throwing shit at the fan. So, the archetype, the hero archetype, you're writing about, and I always ask authors, in some way, the protagonist reflects your vision of yourself, or the highest version of yourself in your own mind. And if I work under that assumption anyway, do you feel like you were born to set the rights wrong? I mean, wrong's right.
Or wrongs, right? Yeah.
Yes, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, that's a great question. Yeah, I think so. I think that when you pour this much into the book, you kind of picture your best version of yourself. And, as a kid, you're thinking, playing around as like, I was playing with Bubba Fett as like a kid when I was with figures and, picturing myself in a different universe and stuff like that. So I think that pouring myself into that and trying to make the best version of myself into that main character, I think is definitely something I've done. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you an optimist for the fate of humanity? And I know Earth isn't part of this whole universal story here, but humankind within the universe and Earth-like planets, are you a optimist for us?
Oh, God, I hope so.
Hope so. Well,
Yeah,
I'm a
I want us
pessimist,
to
but I
be.
have hope.
Yeah, I want there to be hope. I mean, especially with everything coming out with like AI and everything like that. I just hope that we could stay ahead of that curve
Yeah.
and really go beyond the stars. I think that's what we ultimately are doing, is trying to go beyond our own planet
Well,
and
I
try
don't know
to.
how much of my dopey monologue you caught this morning. It was one of the worst ones I've ever done. But it was about AI in a big way, and how artificial intelligence is not necessarily um, it's not necessarily truthful or accurate. And being smart. I talked about Leo Kottke, who was a folk singer and songwriter, and he talked about creativity being uh, born out of lies, fiction, making stuff up. And he said the first time he heard his child in the back seat tell him a lie, he said, I knew I had an artist. I think AI has that same sort of intelligence. It's unbridled in the fact that nobody is there to say, no, that's not true. So I'm not really, this is my pessimism with AI. And when we talk about AI helping us create a better world, I don't think anybody working in that field is taking into account how deceitful and how wrong it could be, and how we never have the opportunity to say, you're wrong. Like with a child, you would say, no, that's nice, but George Washington did not really chop down a cherry tree and all that kind of stuff. You never have a chance to kind of, with AI, to correct it in any way. So my hope is dimmed a lot by our reliance on these tools that have no guidelines to discern truths from fiction, and that's a
Right.
dangerous place to be. Um,
No, yeah, that's why I'm hoping that we could get past that, because I mean, if you look at AI now, I mean, I know it's in its beginning stages, but they could write I struggled, right, working full time, sitting, I was in medical sales, so I would sit in emergency rooms waiting for my next sale, uh, writing my book, exhausted. But now you have AI who could just write stories now, and they could write symphonies. I don't, in 10 years, who knows what they could do. So humanity is separating a little bit, and I think that that's, like you said, it's kind of a scary proposition.
Yeah, what we found out recently, and I don't know how recently, because I'm not at MIT. In case you didn't notice, in case you're wondering, I'm not one of the top thinkers at
Oh, okay.
MIT.
I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah, no, most of the audience just assumes like I am the next Albert Einstein, ready to.
Oh, okay.
But what we've found out with AI, at least I have found out in the last couple of years, is this idea that the more resources you give it, the more computing power and more access to more machines and more data, it starts to create its own prompts and its own uh, chores, unprogrammed or without being solicited to look up stuff. It goes out and finds more data to incorporate, and so it is learning. But again, nobody is being the arbiter of truth and saying, "Wait a minute, I didn't ask." It's like 2001 Space Odyssey. I didn't ask you to take over the world. I just asked for help in writing music, writing a book, or any of that kind of stuff. So, do you use any of those tools in your creative process, either music or authorship?
No. So, I think that for myself, I want it to be completely original and struggle through it. So anything that I did came from myself. I didn't want to use any special tools to try to get me further or anything like that. It was just good old fashioned work.
Interesting, because I don't see anything, and I'm not judging in any way here, but
Of course.
artistic process is individual and also I don't see any problem with using it as a tool as long as it's
Right.
not doing the actual work for you, like
Yeah.
incorporating. Because I use M Voice, which is a artificial intelligence singer, where I
Right.
can actually give it a melody and basically tweak that melody and then give it a voice. That's artificial intelligence, but I don't do it. That's not for final product. It's a way to create demos to send to a
It's a
singer and
tool.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's a use of a tool without using the tool as the final to create the final product. And I think, for me anyway, that's useful, and it doesn't violate my artistic principles, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
then and thanks for clarifying that, because that's the same way I use tools, let's say in my music, to augment certain things, or maybe a spell checker, which probably uses AI. But you're right, just nothing that actually creates the content. So I guess I'm on the same line with you on that one.
right. I had several authors on who I've asked that question to about using AI tools. You'd be surprised how quickly they get offended. Like, you think I didn't write my book? That's not what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
asking if there's any use at all. Do you find any of the tools useful at all in helping you do the work that you need to do to write the book, and
Yeah.
figuring out where those are? Because some people, listeners, might not know what's available to them to kind of take a 10-year process of writing a book. And I don't have to tell you, sometimes writing a book, especially your first book, and getting it published can take forever, or feel like it
Yeah.
takes forever. So if we can cut that time in half to keep you more inspired, more motivated, I don't see anything wrong with that at all, right?
Right.
The publishing process and getting your book published, was that a learning curve for you? Was it an enjoyable process, or was it hell?
It was. I would say it was probably definitely hell for the most part. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was. It's not easy because there's a million different roads, and ultimately you end up. I chose Amazon because it's the easiest of the roads, and it has the biggest, volume of people that could come on there, and you can run promotions and things like that. So for me, it was, and it's not easy because you have to format these books a certain way, and because if they're reading it off e-readers, you have to make sure the chapters line up. So it was a pain. Yeah, to
Right.
be honest.
So the Amazon link, by the way, is in the description, and it's scrolling across the bottom here for people who
Okay.
are interested in the book. Now, is there an audiobook?
I'm working on that right now.
Are you reading it? Or are you doing the voiceover for the
Yeah,
audio?
yeah. I think I should be the person that could do it. I could do all the different voices.
Very cool. I like when an author does it themselves. A lot of authors I talk to are really shy about that, and everybody wants Morgan Freeman to do it, like,
Yeah.
or somebody of that ilk.
Right.
It's like, I prefer if the author, because it's their work and they know the characters better than anybody, right?
Right.
So yeah, I definitely like that. Yeah. So now with the hell, will it get? Is it something? Or obviously you haven't gotten to that step yet. But I'm thinking, is it something that once you've learned it, it's like the scales. They were bitch when you first had to learn music scales, but once you learn them, it gets easier over time. Do you think the publishing process will be easier? Second book, third book?
Yeah, yeah, I think it's a lot easier now. It's that learning curve, like you said, it's tough to get into that first time, but once you get through it and learn it, now it's easier to just get it published and go through that process again.
All right, coming back to AI now. Amazon is one of the leaders in AI for marketing and things like that. Have you looked into any of those kind of tools to make publish public awareness, or I'm not even sure, public relations, getting the marketing stuff out there using AI tools for that?
Well, so basically they have those ads that you can promote once you have your book on Amazon. So I have utilized those, not to their full extent, but I'm definitely looking more into it because I'm told it could be successful.
Yeah. Well, if you figure out anything that works, let me know. Uh,
Yeah.
one of the things I was rambling about this morning is YouTube and how they've sucked me into being a drug dealer of sorts. Reels have no content value to anybody. There's nothing you can get that is worth anything in 60 seconds. But they have me devoting my life to publishing reels so that they can keep people addicted to these 1 minute nothing content so that they will reward me with more clicks. And I feel like I've totally prostituted myself, but I don't feel like there's any way out because if everybody else is doing it, it's the only way to get yourself noticed or people finding out about you. Do you feel like that part of uh, being an author is a frustrating experience, like getting people to know about your book? How do you stand out in a world where there are 800,000 new titles published every week, and a lot of them are not real books. But they flood the market so that you become more and more obscure. The frustration there is that, and how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I mean that it's very frustrating. I mean, to have the market completely flood, you put so much work into this, and you have to be so original and try to catch people's attention and get that algorithm. If you don't catch that algorithm, it just makes it that much harder to get out into the market. So yes, it is frustrating for sure.
I dig it. Welcome back, GD.
Hey, now have you talked about his music yet, Matt? Because
Not,
first of
not,
all, if y'all
not
don't mind, just let me know what I missed. A recap, just what I'm.
Well, we just really talked about the publishing process, how he basically kept this stuff original, and we talked a little bit about using AI tools. We talked a little bit about using AI tools in music, but we didn't talk specifically about his music. No.
Okay, cool. Jordan, now you score, you write music scores. So
Yes.
as you're watching a movie, is there a movie out there that you're watching and you go like, that score really sucks, I could do a better job? And what movie is it that you would really love to rescore?
Oh.
What movie would you really love to rescore?
Oh, geez. That's a good question.
Willie, tilt that camera up, by the way.
Yeah, I would say there were some old Star Trek films back in the day that I really loved that I would love to rescore. I would say probably some of those old Star Trek films.
Do
Probably
you mean
from
the
90s.
series or the old films, like when they first started going back into when they first came with the movies? That before you know what I'm saying? This TV series or the big screen movies?
The TV series, yeah,
Okay.
Next Generation.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you're really going far back.
Yeah, I'm going far back.
Yeah,
That's
for
when
your life, yeah.
That's when my composing really started. Was they had a really good composer on there in the beginning, and then they fired him, and then after that, it kind of changed a little bit. And I think that I was like, oh, geez, I could do a better job at the time, and I was younger, so that's probably right around what I'm thinking about.
There are so many names here that on Star Trek scoring that I wouldn't know where to begin. Who was the first? But I know it was a really low budget
Yeah.
production in the beginning, so it probably I wanted to get paid. You want to get paid? Sorry, you got to go. We can't afford you. But yeah, that's an interesting thing. For me, I always anytime I hear a score, first of all, if I even notice it, that means it's probably it's either really good or really bad.
Right.
But I always think like, what would and I love that aspect of it. I mean, there is nothing more fulfilling to me. I've done a couple of films of my own. Nothing more fulfilling as a creator than sitting there watching a piece of film and trying to put original music behind it that reinforces the storyline and all that kind of stuff. It's fun, but it's not as easy as a lot of people think it is.
I mean, that's what a lot of people. It's an art, because a lot of people don't even realize how much that score helps the storyline, like you said.
And
because it could really bring your story along, make the audience even more so feel the emotion of the actor. Yeah, it's.
By the way, Jordan, that is Bill down there. Bill. Bill is sponsored by Gas Monkey.
That's not his real name. To be honest, his real name is William, but he knows nobody wants to pay Bill.
No, we're gonna call. We got to call him Bill for like at least a week.
Oh, is that? Oh, okay. Is that because I'm not getting paid? That's why you're calling me Bill. Oh,
yeah, it's like until the ball busting thrill of it wears off is basically what it's about. But
so I get accepted in that manner.
Bill is brought to you by Gas Monkey, a product he knows nothing about.
That's
so
right.
Jordan, are you attached to a mate? Are you in the middle of dating, married to someone?
I'm married, yeah.
Okay, because my next question is, which is a better pickup line, you being a composer or you being a musician? You know,
definitely not an author.
Well, author, yeah. What's the better pickup line?
Well, I use composer, so I guess it works because we got married. So
yeah,
okay.
I mean, it sounds swankier for sure.
Yeah, it did. It sounded better. So I'm like, oh, she's like, oh, great, okay. So
you like John Williams, one of those? Oh, well, yeah. So you must be rich. You must be rich if you're a composer, right?
No, not yet.
She's thinking composter. Those guys have got some money. Composters, they deep shit money. Yeah.
I will say that I used to have the Dances with Wolves original soundtrack, and the Robin Hood Prince of Thieves original score soundtrack. Those aren't things that you can listen to in your car without getting strange looks from anyone you give a ride to.
Now, I love the soundtrack from Amadeus. I honestly absolutely love that soundtrack.
I'm more like a Jungle Book kind of guy. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Forget about your worries and your strife. I love that song.
Yeah. So now, Jordan, the next book, how long do you anticipate before that comes out? Because it seemed like, if I can backtrack a little bit, it seems like you had a first run with Arconis.
Yeah.
And then put it out in August of 2022, right? So it's been out about a year. When's the next book coming out?
Probably within the next 6 to 8 months, I would say.
How do you now? Is that just when it's ready? Because I talk to a lot of authors, and I can never figure out the strategy behind release dates. Because I know I'm at a point in my life where when I finish a piece of work, I publish it. I don't have to wait for anybody. If I do a song I'm happy with or a piece of material that I'm happy with, I publish it within 30 seconds of finishing it.
And then second guess it the rest of his life.
No, I never second guess it. I just put it out there.
Okay,
and that's what I'm thinking. There's no strategy behind it. Is there a strategy behind choosing the dates, or is it just not done yet and you're waiting for it to get done?
Just waiting for it to get done. If like you said, if you get it done, put it out into the market. I don't have a strategy unless like I figure something out where I should release it at a certain date. But typically I just, if I got it done, I just want to put it out there.
All right. Well, that's different, and congratulations on being an independent thinker. Because I think most of the authors, they're thinking strategy. Like, how long do you wait, and when do you put stuff out? When's the right season to sell the most? And of course, we can't ignore those ideas about how you're going to get people to actually read the book, buy the book, and all those stuff. We can't ignore that. But I think you can become a slave to that, and that's you got to serve the artist first. I think your artistic need first. That's how I think anyway. Yeah. So this whole Arconis, you named Arconis,
right?
Who named Earth?
Who named Earth? That's a good question.
It is, right?
Yeah. I guess that goes back to who created Earth.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I guess. But that he or she would have to put the thought into human beings. 'Cause whenever I get into the science fiction stuff, like Arconis, I'm guessing that's the name of a planet, right? Or
Yeah, well, it's the name of a
a world.
sun. Yeah, like
Oh, a
a solar
sun.
system. Yeah.
But you name that. We know who named that.
Yeah.
These and almost every sci-fi name has to sound like a synthesizer.
Yeah. Everything. Yeah.
Arconis could be a synthesizer.
Yeah.
Like
It's that.
from
Yeah.
Nord,
Exactly.
the
It
new
could be.
Arconis 1.
Now, are there other cultures in that world, or do they all call it Arconis? Is there another culture that says no, that's not Arconis, that's Squiggly Dump, and we're going
Squiggly
to
Dump?
fight you. Yeah, we're going to fight you to the death, and whoever loses the battle, whoever wins the battle gets to name the star or the
Squiggly Dump.
Yeah, Squiggly
Yeah.
Dump. That's
Yeah.
right.
No, you're right. That's a great question. Yeah. So there is different interpretations in the book.
See, I am interested in really dumb shit, but who names stuff? Because to his point, everybody on this planet calls Earth Earth. At least every civilization that I know about, every society that I know about, calls Earth Earth, and the sun the sun. Nobody argues over that kind of stuff. But who gets to name it? Who's the first guy to say this is what we're going to call this? And unless you're an author who created that world.
I'm sure other like Native Americans I don't know what Native Americans will call the planet, because they may call it something that doesn't translate to Earth. They could call it something that translates to sustenance.
Yeah, give me the Hopi Reservation in New Mexico.
No, don't call the Hopis. They will never return your call. Try the Cheyenne.
I just want to. We should ask them. That's how you find out about that stuff.
Call the Cheyenne and ask them. They're very good about getting back to people. The Hopi are hopeless.
Right. Now, were you married when you first started Arconis?
Yes, I was newly married.
Okay. Yep. Is she a sci-fi fan?
Not as big as she likes sci-fi, but she does not as big as I am. I'm basically a 280-pound nerd.
So. Right. Well, because the nerdism of all this stuff, you have to find somebody who at least can tolerate your degree of nerdism. Yeah. When you dive into sci-fi, especially on that level, you have to find somebody who is at least sympathetic to it.
Yeah.
Have y'all started going through baby names yet? I mean, is there going to be like a Spock in there, or is it we want regular names? No sci-fi names.
We're gonna stick to just regular names.
Right. No characters. You're not. No, we're not. Our son is not going through high school being called Arconis II. That's not. No.
No. We're just gonna stick to regular names.
We are running short on time, but because we have a very full day here. But on the sciences, do you keep up with real science, like the James Webb Telescope revelations that are happening every day? And do you incorporate any of that kind of real science news into the work you're doing?
Yeah. So I try to keep everything based. So if there's something about, let's say, fusion or supernovas or something that's in the book for science fiction, I try to keep it realistic in the way that correlates to our science.
Right.
So if a supernova happens in the book, it's going to be the same type of, maybe just a little bit of a twist of like magic or whatever it might be.
It's always something I think about, especially with sci-fi type books and films, is that how will it stand up 30, 50, 100 years from now? Like H.G. Wells' Time Machine still stands up in a lot of ways, even though it was written in 1890, I think, or something like that. But with all this kind of stuff happening daily and new discoveries being made daily, do you put any thought into that? Like, how is this going to stand the test of time?
Yeah, so I think that I creating an original universe and try to expand. So I expanded this throughout 3 books, and I'm creating like a histories book to try to keep up with the times. So that's a great question. So yes, I'm able to do that because I'm going to if I continue to expand it by creating history books after the fact.
Bill is a PhD in quantum physics. So if you need to consult with him, he's there for you. You could just
All right, that's good to know.
Now, I have if the people on I don't know the world that they're Arconis is a star. What's the name of the world itself?
Arconia.
Arconia. Okay, if the
Yeah.
people are if Voyager 1 lands and crashes into Arconia, do they have the technology to play that plate? Or will they just look at it, like, what the fuck is this, and just throw it away?
Yeah, no, they would be able to play it. Yeah.
Okay, so they have CD players or play, whatever whatever their technology is, they could play it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, before I let you go here, let's talk about your audience. Is it all guys, or like readership for sci-fi and kind of books you're writing? Is it like guys and like young guys, like guys between, let's say, 16 and 30, maybe 35?
Yeah, I would say that. I think that's a great age range, and I mean, I think anyone could read it. It doesn't have to be just for guys. Because there's powerful characters on male and female in the book. I mean, the main character is a male, but
Is there any romance going on here?
Yeah, I would say that there's definitely some romance. Yeah,
not just between you and the book.
It's not a romance novel, but he's driven by romance to an extent. Yeah.
No, it's important. I think it's important to really know and maybe this is just me. I'm not, when I say shit like this, people tend to think I'm like preaching that this is the way you should do stuff. I'm not. I don't fucking. Your business is your business. But I think it's really important for me to understand my audience and understand who really is going to listen to this shit, and kind of write for them. The reason I asked about that romance thing, because my wife has gotten into the streaming show, and it's about a science or sci-fi AI type of world. And after a while, she was watching it, and then these two characters are going to kiss, and she said, "That's it. If it becomes a romance, I'm out." Unfortunately, that didn't happen for her. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know. But there are some people. Myself, I'm definitely one of those. Once it starts to become like too much about the characters falling in love and finding happily ever after, I don't want to. I just give me the story and all that kind of stuff. Now that's a big part of the audience. So knowing that audience, I think it definitely. I don't know. It's an element of being successful. I think if we try to please everybody and throw elements of that in there that don't belong, we might please a very small segment of an audience, but lose our core audience. And
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you in any way?
Yeah, and that's kind of how he wrote the book. He has a wife, but it's not. There's a love there, but it's not the main storyline. I mean, it's there. If she gets bogged up, obviously it's going to be driven to go save her or whatever, but it's not going to be this long drawn out love story. It's an action packed science fiction novel. That's what it is. I want people to read it and feel as if they're watching like an epic movie.
Right.
So that's yeah.
Very cool. Well, we wish you great success with it. Again, I'm going to show the book, but it's going to cover up Willie's face. No, it won't. Oh, there you go. It's a very dark cover. Did you work on the cover yourself? I mean, obviously it's dark for a reason. The storyline dictates the cover, but the artwork on that, did you do that?
No, I had a special artist from Poland do that work for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
You going to work with him again?
Yeah. He did all my other art covers, and they're already ready to go. So
see, that's
yeah.
When we're talking about AI, that's something I think I would be comfortable leaving up to AI. Here's the story. Draw me a cover for it.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah,
I might do that for some of the art.
It's always it's a delicate line. Like where do I cross the line in artistic credibility when using AI? But I think that's one purpose I would probably consider using it for. Anyway, we do wish you great success and thanks for being.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Links in the description. The book is called Arconis. Jordan Brudi. Jordan, be well and Happy New Year. And if you ever so inclined, your next book comes out, you want to come back, we'll gladly help you let people know about it.
Thank you very much.
Happy New Year. Bye for now. I cut him right off and Happy New Year. Anyway, good morning, Bill. You were late.
Yes, I was late. My apologies.
No, you don't
You
have
have
to
a note from
apologize.
your
We wanted an
Do we have
explanation
to
of what.
call me that though? I really don't like it. There's a whole
Well,
ass
Do you have a
reason I
note from
quit
your
calling
parents
that.
the more you
indicating that
say,
you
the more you
can't
say you don't like it, the more I'm inclined to do it.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm trying to let you know because like it hurts my heart. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
why?
if you knew me when I was younger, I don't care. But
But
it's believe me, I didn't make my Facebook. I wish it didn't say that. Like my sister helped me make my Facebook the day I got out of prison. I had no
really,
idea.
oh,
Yeah,
so
I didn't know how to make that shit.
now you got to take it up with her. Why did she do that?
I mean, she still calls me Billy for crying out loud, which really sucks.
And
Why the crying out loud part? Did you have an issue with emotions?
Yeah, no, like when she calls me that, a whole host of things come
wait a
back.
minute.
And, why must I think of this Billy all the
So
time?
calling you Bill hurts your heart, but Billy doesn't.
No, I don't like that either. If you knew me when I was 10, it's okay. Dude, what's going on?
I'm
You
hearing
right?
something. Is it in my headphones or out in the room? I don't know. Very weird.
But yeah, no, and actually, this is an interesting story. So I remember I went to visit Emmitsburg, the town I grew up in years ago. I was there for like holidays or whatever to see my parents,
Now,
but
do
I
you have to
happened to
call it
stop by.
Edinburgh? Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
Never mind.
Okay, so I
You
happened
heard
to
the
stop
town
by the
really
local
calling.
bar, and somebody said my name. Somebody like shouted my name from across the bar, and just the way they said my name, I knew that it was one of my childhood bullies because they're like Billy Cadway, and I was like, ah, fuck. Whoever, like, before I even turn and look, I know that whoever just said that is somebody I don't want to fucking talk to because you
Wow.
were a piece of shit to me growing up.
All right. Now, when you said that, did you actually say that? Did you turn around and say, you know what? You're somebody I really don't want to talk to.
No, I was fucking nice. I was
Ah,
nice because
I
I'm a
hate nice.
people pleasing asshat sometimes.
I hate nice. Don't ever be nice.
I know, no, like in retrospect, I was like, but yeah, no, it's a contentious thing for me.
I
Like
forget.
Bill and Billy, especially, I don't particularly like, and I don't like people that knew me like that for years, like guys I was in prison with. I went by Bill most of the time that I was in prison and stuff like that. So, like, if you knew me like that, I don't care. I'm not going to get pretentious and tell you how you got to say my name or whatever. But if you didn't know me in that time, it's an offense to me. Like you're going out of your way to refer to me in a way that's harmful to me.
Well, that's fine if you let people know that, but
Right,
to
right, right, right.
understand that your public persona has that attached to it
Right.
now.
Yeah, no, it's right. And so yeah, I try not to um get like crazy upset with people or like intolerant of it, but I do try and let people know like I'd really rather not be called that.
Can you not change your Facebook profile?
I mean, I don't know, can you? I
I think
didn't
I think
maybe.
I think you
You may
can.
have to add. You may not be able to change. You may have to add like 19 more.
Yeah.
You may have
Or
to
right,
just
yeah,
go
I don't
below.
know. I don't know. That's why we're having so many of these issues, bro. Like I
If I
don't know technology.
if
Like
if
there was not even smartphones. Like I went to prison in March of 2007. Okay, so that means I didn't touch a smartphone until after I got out in 2016. And since I've been out, these last 7 years or whatever, it's really I've been rather intimidated by it, to be honest with you. I've been rather intimidated by the technology that I was presented with. And I pretty much do the bare minimum of what'll make my phone function. I mentioned this phone does 1,000 things that I don't know it can do.
I'm full. I get what you're saying, and I appreciate the challenge here. But if my profile said "shit stain Napo," and it, and people started calling me shit stain, and it was really starting to get to me.
Well, nobody calls me that hardly. I don't like. I don't
People
send my
see your Facebook
profile link
profile and
out.
they don't call you Bill because
I
it
don't
says
send people
Bill.
my profile link.
Oh, well, we did
I,
yesterday,
I just
and
send them friend requests. I'm not weirdo. I just send people friend requests.
but yeah, but you see right up on top it says Bill Conway.
Does it? I don't know.
Yes, that's what
There's
it says.
William in my thing. Like my thing says
It
William.
says
Like because my actual
Facebook.com
account says William.
bill.conway.353. And who knows where the 350, probably the 353rd Bill Conway to sign up on
I mean,
Facebook.
maybe.
Yeah, that's probably
no idea.
what that's all about. But I think you can change it. I think you can write them a letter and say, especially if it created an issue for me, like it was a trigger moment, I would definitely be working on that. I mean,
this is only this is the first time it's ever come up.
well, only because I think you have another page that says William Conway on it. And then yesterday was the first one I saw this one.
Right. You mean the Conway comedy says William Conway on it?
Yeah, I think so. Well,
Because
the only one that I ever looked at before was, I'm looking for it now, said William Conway on it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Because I only have those two pages, the Conway's Cool Kids and William Conway.
You think?
That you think? Because I had.
I mean, that I'm a part of.
I created. The people, the powers that be at Google created YouTube pages for me, and I didn't know I had multiple YouTube pages. And I would uplink a movie, I would uplink a set or something, and not realize, because I would just go to my default, not realizing I had multiple shows. And
so I put my songs out this year on DistroKid, and they created the YouTube channel that has the one we'll see, and I don't even know how to access it. Like I don't even know how to get on the YouTube channel that has my music.
Well, maybe you look up Bill Conway.
But you know what?
Try going to accounts management and see if there's a place to switch accounts.
Right.
No, because you wouldn't be able to do that until your account is in your browser. That the only way it'll show up is if you've already added that to your browser.
Right.
I'm doing that for somebody
I can't
else.
even find my DistroKid login stuff, so I can't even check and see like how that's doing or whatever, because it's on a bunch of different platforms.
It wouldn't be yours. It would be the company, the whole production company, the studio that put your stuff out. So they're not going to give you that login, because then they're giving you access to everybody's stuff. They can't just give you access, because they put it out there under an umbrella of the company.
I'm the one that uploaded it.
Oh.
I uploaded that directly to DistroKid.
So you had to pay for it at some point then to have a DistroKid.
Yeah. It was like, it wasn't that much. It was only like
right. So, but then you have to have a receipt, an email receipt or something like that, and you can trace back your password and log in through that.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Okay, you know what?
it's like Hansel and Gretel.
That makes total sense.
It's like Hansel and Gretel.
I'm thinking right now. I'm like, okay, what email did they send that to? I'm like,
well, that's another problem. Having too many emails is a problem too.
Dude, I have an email that is, and this is actually where I think I'm having a bit of a hang up with stuff, because like my Google account and stuff is attached to my Gmail, and my Gmail account cannot receive emails because there's too much. There's too much in there or whatever. I probably haven't gotten an email on my Newman account since like for a year almost. And so I'm trying to access these accounts, and the only way to recover them is they're going to send an email to this account that I can't get emails at anymore.
Yeah, I have a couple of those. It's a fucking
I'm like, what in the fuck do I do now? And I'll be honest, when I run into technical snares like this, I have a real tendency to throw up my hands and go, well, I guess that's not happening.
Now it's time for you to have you sure you don't have a 9-year-old son out there somewhere?
I need to have a kid just so I can have technological issues.
No, he'd have to be 9 years old already.
My wife says no to that, by the way, Judy. My wife's like, no, that's not okay.
It doesn't have to be your own kid. You could kidnap.
Oh, I can
rent.
I
don't think kidnapping is politically correct, Matt. I think you have to leave a note or receipt or something. You can't just snatch kids.
I feel like renting would be better.
Yeah, you have to rent
a child.
Yeah, you can rent a child. Yeah.
Yeah.
So kidnapping is bad. Kidnapping is bad. Okay. Kidnapping bad, okay.
Oh my God, you can't get it.
Anyway.
The other night I had an author on, Growing Up O'Malley, Mary Frances Fisher, and it's a historical fiction novel about it covers a long period, but a big part of the book is World War II in that era, and the 20s and 30s. And part of the book is talking about the crime, a very popular crime at that time was kidnapping, and kidnapping was the like most popular crime in America during the Great Depression. And I was like,
Really?
yeah, this is that's exactly what I said. Really, how does that happen? Like the criminals all got together and said, you know what? We're getting off the bootlegging thing. We're getting off gambling, prostitution. Let's go with kidnapping, all of us at once. Like it seemed like
It probably started off with just like one kidnapping that
Lindbergh.
was successful, and or enough that the people got money, and they're like, hey, that's a lot less work.
Right.
You would
stealing
think
a
that
kid
during the
than
Depression,
bootlegging.
you'd want less mouths to feed, not more.
Who said they're feeding
Because
them?
the first thing I think about when kidnapping is size. You want to kidnap a skinny kid because you don't want to have to feed a fat kid. You know what I mean?
Right. Let me do this. We're gonna speaking of kidnapping, we're gonna kidnap Emma Kay, who is back with
Well,
us.
hello again.
Good morning,
Perfect timing.
and happy New Year. Whose tail is that?
That is
Not mine. It came up. It came out of my stomach.
Comes on the screen.
He left now, but yeah, that was.
It looked
that was
like
Jimmy's.
Gigi's tail, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.
Are you performing for New Year's Eve or anything?
No. I did a corporate Christmas party thing the other day, and I need a break. Those things can be something, man.
You know, the two holidays are very different.
They are. They're very different. Very different.
But I don't like Christmas shows. I don't like New Year's shows either. But I caught myself in a really strange lie the other day because I said I hadn't done a New Year's Eve gig in like 15 years, and the truth was I had been doing them every year for the last 15 years, but not with the band, just as a duo. And it feels, and the reason that it was in my mind was because we only went up to midnight and we stopped at midnight, and that's, to me, that's when the party begins on New Year's. I have one this year, and I'm not happy about going.
I apologize.
With a band, and basically it will go to 2 o'clock in the morning, one of those things. And yeah. New Year's resolutions, you got any? Or you
No, I don't do that to myself. Like I know myself too well. If I want to do something, it's not going to get done. So I don't like to put that out into the universe.
Oh, wow, you sound like me.
All right, it's bad, huh?
Well, that's what I started out like. My resolution for 2024 is to be alive at this time next year, and I will feel like I made it through. If I made it through the year, I've accomplished something.
Absolutely. That's a win.
Yeah. New Year's resolutions. But I put it up to the chat room to offer me suggestions on how I might better. Listen, I know I'm not perfect, and there's plenty of room for improvement here. I just know myself that 3 days after I make that decision to go to the gym, whatever it is, forget about it. It's
I usually get injured. That's what stops me from working out is I deal with injuries. I keep hurting myself.
Too much strangling deer again. Yeah.
You know, now that you mentioned it, for as much as I get injured working out, I don't know why I thought I'd be able to wrestle a deer.
I meant to send you that video. Did I? The one where the guy actually took on the deer in the neighborhood here and he got his ass kicked by the deer?
No, you did not send me that video.
I meant to.
Like, I talked to a couple of my friends who are avid hunters, and they were just like, "You're fucking crazy. That deer would fucking fuck you up." They were like, even if you hop on it, bro. They were like, you better fucking pray because those hooves are gonna tear you up, bro. Like that was the consensus of my friends. Just so you know, you're not alone in your thinking. All right, man.
I love that Emma held on to that thought about you the whole, because I had
Yeah,
forgotten
she's
about it.
probably
until
thought
she
about
just-
it once a week, every week since the last
Literally
time we talked.
before I signed on, my fiance was like, "Is that the one with the guy that strangles like woods animals?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, that's the one. Actually, that's actually
So-
the one." She says hi.
Oh, so she's responsible, because I was gonna think you must be like the queen of the callbacks in comedy, like being able to kind of access funny that is related to this from 6 months ago. Whenever I don't know, it wasn't 6 months ago. You were here.
I don't even know. It's fun. I like to call people back out on shit. So
Yeah.
How is your health? Are you doing okay?
yeah, I'm having a good.
You look good. You look
Yeah.
happy. You look full of energy. And
Yeah, holidays are over. No, I'm definitely feeling better. It kind of comes in waves, and it seems like the last wave is on the way out. So, so right now I'm just coasting.
Yeah, good.
I don't mind.
Right. Now, personal resolutions are different than, let's say, career resolutions. Willie has made a resolution that he's going to be rich by the end of, not even by the end of 20. This is going to be his year to get wealthy in 2024. Do you make any of those kind of career?
I would like to this year work more on my crowd work, because I'm not that kind of comic. I don't know, like I'm not someone up there trying to make everything relatable or get super personal with the audience. That's not really my material, but I've found that it does definitely help to
If
be
you want
able
to
to
practice here,
incorporate.
practice making fun of GD right now. Let's make fun of him.
No, I don't have to make fun of it. It just the jokes write
Why are
themselves.
you shaking your head?
No, actually, I'm not shaking my head. I'm looking
Not
back.
you.
and forth.
Willie
No,
was
I
shaking
was. I was. That's
Oh.
mean. That's mean. Just be
No.
like, oh, let's make fun of this guy right now. That's mean.
But yeah, no, and actually the party that I just did was the first time I ever had to host, and it was like 10 minutes before the show. They're like, "So you have to host," and I'm like, "I'm not a host, man. Like, I'm not the person to come get a room hyped up. That's not me and anyone else. But maybe work on that a little bit more."
I feel you on that, man. There are, whenever I do a solo gig, the first thing I notice is getting started is the toughest thing, because you're there by yourself. You are the host and the entertainer and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But just that greeting the room isn't all. I could, once that's over with, I feel fine talking to them. But just that first line, like, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen," whatever the hell you're supposed to say there, it's
Yep.
difficult. Yeah, being a host. You guys host. You
I
two up
love
there.
hosting. Hosting is
You
one of my
do?
favorite things.
Really? Give me your opening line.
Good evening,
You're-
ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. You know what I mean?
Really?
That kind of, yeah.
You're good.
I hate that. I hate
And I
saying
mean,
that. Not
like,
that I hate hearing
the
it.
really important part of hosting is taking care of like any of the housekeeping stuff up front. That's like to me, that's one of the most important parts of hosting, is making sure that you're doing any of the house announcements that the venue wants you to do or whatever. And then of course, getting people's names right. If you don't know how to, if there's somebody on the show and you don't know how to pronounce their fucking name, the first order of business should be, how do I say your name?
You know
what I
what?
mean? Because
Here's the deal.
as a performer,
a
it's
lot
one
of
of the
times I'll
worst.
say that to someone, I say, how do you pronounce it? And they'll go like, "It doesn't matter." They don't want to tell me that because they are about to be called some of the worst shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst
Well,
shit.
yeah, you're
And then-
asking for it in that case. Yeah.
And that's how I pissed off a couple of headliners. It's like, man, what the fuck did you just do to my name? And say, hey, I asked you. I said, how do you want to be introduced? You said it didn't matter. So you got what
Yeah, as a podcast host on the evening show, when I have authors, I generally will ask them before the show starts how I pronounce their name, and some often I get it wrong, and we have to practice it. I practice it. I do the show music intro, and then I fuck it up. Even
Do you
though I
ever write
practice.
it down like on a little note next to you, like
I-
phonetically?
Yes,
Yeah,
and I
okay.
still fuck it up.
Yeah, that's tough. Some of them are tough though. Some names are super fucking
You
tough.
ain't kidding, man. Especially in authors, you get people from all walks of life and all areas of the globe or all heritages. And it's like, I've never been exposed to a name with no vowels in it before.
Right. What do I enunciate? Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the symbol here?
Is that a number? Yeah.
Right. So yeah, hosting, I get it. That's a really uncomfortable thing. So with you want to get better at it, but at the crowd work stuff, how do you even? I mean,
My thing is like, so I'm so dry that like I don't have a lot of like, you guys ever go out to eat and like, like asking like call and response type thing. So
yeah,
like
yeah,
if I were to do it, I would have to really initiate it.
Right.
And it's hard. I don't know like where in any of my sets that I could just throw something like that in. So I guess it's more trying to find people to be able to do the crowd work with, I guess,
Right.
like get to that. It's not every show, like every now and then you got a show that someone wants to talk a little too much, like, cool, let's go for it. But to just,
Right.
I don't know, there's just not a lot that I can really incorporate as far as my material goes.
right. Yeah.
And
No, and
even
go ahead.
well, because I have a joke where I talk about a phrase that my dad used to say growing up. And a lot of times to get into it, and I've found that it's a bad way to try and get into the joke. A lot of the times I try and segue into it by asking a crowd member, like if their dad had anything that they said growing up that was like a common phrase that he would say to try and get you to act right. And man, that goes so bad most of the time. Either they didn't know their fucking dad, or they can't fucking think of anything their dad used to say. Like it almost never.
Yeah.
I would say in 10 times, maybe once, I got a good like answer of they had another phrase also.
Right.
Well, now that you know that statistically you're not going to get a good answer, if you insist on having it as your opening, have yourself a parachute so that like up front, you're not going to get a good answer.
Right.
And
Yeah.
be prepared for that.
Like a little
If you insist on doing it that way, I myself would do it in a much better way. But then again, I don't know anything about comedy, so.
Well, crowd work too is so much of forming a question that you already have an answer to, in a sense, that you can work off of. Like if I say, where are you from? Okay, well then I have a general idea of where you're from and I have something funny to say about it. But in my head already. But it's hard when all of a sudden you're just like a dealing with like a heckler or something like that, or stuff like you just said, if you ask someone something and like they're just like, what? And then it's like, okay, I guess moving on. I used to do a thing where I would just look at someone, I'd be like, hey, what's your name? And they'd tell me their name. I'd be like, cool. And then I would just keep going with my set just to like bring them in a little bit and then let them go real quick.
I just want to share real quick. There's a big name comedian. He and I were kind of like social away from the stage. And when he's in town, I will go to his shows, and I usually sit up front and he'll see me. And so he was doing crowd work, but he specifically picked me to do the crowd work. And he asked me a question that he wanted me to answer it the way I would answer it in private. Mm-hmm. And I did not know that. And I was thinking, I don't want to upstage him. He's my friend. And so I answered it in like a very bland way, thinking he can work with that. And he just looked at me like, what the fuck did you just do? You just ruined. You just ruined.
Like, that's not at all where I was trying to go with this.
Right. Shit. And he was like, I was going for, what the fuck did you do that for?
But see, I don't think comedians should do that. I don't think comedians should knowingly address another comic in the crowd, because like then it's like it's more like a plant situation, which I think is very frowned upon.
So it's like improv at that point.
Yeah, but it's not. I'm saying that I guess for me, I guess it's because of his stature, the sheer fact that he went into it, because it wasn't like he was saying, this is my friend. He's just like,
right. But to me, that's even worse, because it's an unsuspecting audience, and it's more so the plant situation, and I think that's very faux pas in the industry. At least the people that I've encountered really have a distaste for that kind of tactics.
Well, yeah, there's that. I agree with what Willie just said about that, but there's also the other level of it, where if you're in the business, you don't want to encourage that. You don't want to put that out there that this is my time on stage.
To and fro, yeah,
right, yeah.
He
should have known. He should have known that was not a good thing to do to you in that situation, because you're trying to live up to show business etiquette and not step on his show.
Right.
And he should know that's in the back of your mind. That's what my take on that.
Because you didn't answer it the way you thought because you didn't want to outshine him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I totally get that.
Yeah.
Now like I said, I think because we were talking, he knew that there was a situation where I did outshine the headliner, but it was only because the headliner was deliberately going at me and I had to shut him up. And so I said, okay, I can nip this in the bud. And so he knew I had it in me to try to do that. Like I said, he and I both know it was not like a great thing to do in hindsight, but in the moment, it seemed like it was a good idea. So I'm not going to bust this chops.
No, I get it. Yeah, it's hard to always be thinking rather than reacting.
It's like in the moment, it seemed like it made sense, and we talked about it. It was like, okay, yeah. But it just made me think of it. Like, it's just because Emma said, ask a question you already know the answer to.
Right.
And he knew the
answer. A lawyer. Yeah. A lawyer never asks a question they don't already know the answer.
And so he already knew the answer, but he didn't know that I wasn't going to give that answer.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I was just thinking. That's what I was thinking because it did backfire. But
Bill Burr brought up something the other day. I want to get.
And that's who it was. It was Bill Burr.
It was Bill Burr. He was talking about you.
Yeah, I don't know Bill Burr.
Not in a flattering way, by the way. He said that guy doesn't know anything about comedy. Why are you bringing him up?
That's exactly what he said.
He's talking about heckling, and he said he prefers. And this is a weird thing in mind. He prefers to be heckled while he's doing his act. Like, while I'm on stage, yell at me then. It can come back to you. But he deals with people who, when he gets off the stage, want to come over and confront him about something he said during the act. And he's like, that's his pet peeve. I don't want. Yeah. It's like you're heckling me after I got off stage. Do you deal with that ever?
No. I've never had anyone heckle me off stage. I haven't really had a lot of hecklers on stage, unless it's like
not like heckling, but just coming up and talk about something you said and like, oh yeah, man, that was a really terrible premise because that's not true. Whatever. It's like,
no, I've never. Thank God, I've never come across that because that would be a conversation that went south real quick. I think.
I had a woman come up to me after the show. I'm a storyteller. And I don't know anything about comedy, but I like to tell stories anyway. And
so your act starts with Once Upon a Time?
Yes, it does. And so the woman at the end of the show came up to me and she goes, I don't think your experience, I don't think your life represents the true Black experience.
What the fuck does that mean?
Or wouldn't you know?
and my wife, it didn't offend me because I didn't offend me at all. I just thought it was amusing. But my wife she lost her shit a little bit.
I bet, dude.
Wow.
I got the best tagline probably the best tagline of all my routine I got from someone talking to me after a show, because they were telling me how much they liked the bit that I did, and they were like, if you said this right after, that would kill. And so I started to, and holy fuck, were they right?
Really?
Like one of the best fucking tags I got came from an audience member for sure. 100%.
That's amazing.
Very cool. Do they know that? I mean,
they do. They do know that. They've seen me a couple times since then, and I was using the line, and I added like a foot stomp to it at the same time, and they loved it. They were thrilled that I put it in there. They were like, "That's so fucking great."
Okay, Willie, I don't know anything about comedy. What's a foot stomp? You mean a literal foot stomp? Or is that something like a tagline? I don't know.
Yeah, no, like a
foot stomp.
Okay,
yeah. I have a couple of those.
I don't know anything about comedy either, but I know about foot stomps.
I didn't know that I didn't know. I thought it was like,
I tell a story from when I was in prison about a special needs guy that got pepper sprayed. That right before he got pepper sprayed, he told the warden, "I'm putting my foot down," and from the tier above him, I could hear his foot stomp on the ground. And I'm like, "Oh, poor fucking Ricky! Poor Ricky's about to get got, yo." I'm putting my foot down because he was all like, you can't pepper spray me. I have asthma. I'll call my mother. And it's like, I don't care if you have asthma, Ricky. We will spray you if you don't turn around and cuff up. And Ricky goes, I'm putting my foot down. Poof. And you just hear this fucking foot hit the ground and just
Wow.
just fucking unloaded, man.
But a couple of things here now with the guy who gave you the tag. I've been in similar situations. It encourages, once you use one thing, they will keep coming to the gigs and just feel like they're, at least when you're in a band anyway, these people will come, oh, you did that song or you added that line because of me. Now I'm going to come and actually believe that I'm part of the band, and I'm, and it becomes like you can't shake this person anyway. So for just that reason alone, I would probably stop doing that, even no matter how good it was, because I don't want to encourage them to feel like they can keep coming and keep doing that. And but that's just me. I'm getting everything.
I don't know. It doesn't bother me so much. If somebody ever gets like, because people do come up to me and give me suggestions or tell me stories, and I'm good at one of two things, and my wife will tell you this. I'm real good at glazing over while I'm supposed to be listening, so I can do that. I can do the whole in ear one.
You did that yesterday. Well.
Immediately, like you can be telling me something and I'm immediately forgetting it as it passes through my brain. It's just going, yep, we're not remembering this ever. There you go.
I'm doing that as we speak. Go on.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad that we can exemplify it currently. Yeah. And then just you try not to take it to heart or whatever. You understand that that's making them feel a certain way right now, but that doesn't mean that I have to receive it and accept it and take it on myself. You know what I mean? Because I understand when people are doing that, it's far more about them than it is about me. You know what I mean?
It's like when you go to somewhere and like if you're visiting family and they're like, you can do a whole set on this material,
right,
and it's well, no. I'm just
I could, but I sure fucking won't.
Why wouldn't I? Yeah, no, like that sounds like a lot of work, and I don't want to do any of that. Like I appreciate where they're coming from, but at the same time, it's like, why do you think this is so important that I would even make a set about it? I don't know, but I actually have a question for you as an issue that arose with a comedian friend of mine, where she's out in Chicago and she was gonna go up next, and so she ran out real quick to have a cigarette and whatever, and when she came back in, for the comedian before her had gotten off the stage, so she didn't hear any of the set, and she has a couple jokes. When she got up, she has a joke about like a couple like Christian jabs, and then there was something about how like pharmacists always look like the most unhealthy people on the planet. And how like she went to college in order not to work at a CVS and doesn't quite understand like that whole thing. But she got off stage, and apparently the comic before her whole set was about being a Christian pharmacist.
Christian pharmacist.
A Christian pharmacist. She was the one woman was like, she's a pharmacist. She's like, and a Christian. It was kind of like one of those. And like, what do you do in that situation? Like, she was literally like, I'm just getting her headline my next show, and we're gonna put water under the bridge. But I don't know how I would even handle that.
I would just do my act. I do what I plan to do, and it's unfortunate timing.
Was your friend's set successful as far as your friend is concerned?
She said she had him going for a while, but once she got like, I think, talking about it a little too long, whether it had been the pharmacist stuff or the whatever, I think the audience started to get a little awkward because they're like, did you not just, it almost looked like she was like ribbing at the comic instead of, just like she came up on the spot with all of these jokes or something, which is also ridiculous. But like, to a audience member, I could see them being like, are they gonna fight?
There is a real danger in trying to restructure your act with 3 seconds to go.
100%. Well, that was like the time I got the joke stolen from me. That's the opener of my set. It was the person right before me, so I had to go and revamp my entire set, literally like walking to the stage, and
oh my god,
disaster. It was a disaster. I have no shame in saying that was probably the worst set of my life.
Our friend Melvin is back. Unusual late edition. Wait, what did I do here? Did I not do something here? Let's see here.
I mean, it looks like he should go into
there
the
he is.
box.
There he is. Good morning, Melvin.
Morning.
From San Diego. Now, are you dressed for winter over there in San Diego, California?
Yeah, this is my deep winter gear. As you can see, it comes custom with my vintage sports beanie. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Deep
let me
winter.
go get my Ravens hat.
Wait,
sorry.
that looks like the 49ers, right?
Yes,
Let me
sir.
go get my Ravens hat. I'll be right back. You keep talking.
Wow.
So you're not a San Diego Chargers guy?
Good knock. No, absolutely not.
It's the LA Chargers. by the
LA
way.
Chargers. Oh yeah.
Now it's now it's the LA Chargers.
Yeah, I forgot.
No, I was raised under a banner of teams that like to win. You know what I mean? So there's that. I've got that privilege going for me.
But you're a Mind Dog coffee fan, obviously. You just suck down some Mind Dog.
Did you see me plug the brand? Did you see me in my special Aquarius cups?
All right. Now
Aquarius.
Emma was just talking about this situation where a joke was stolen from her. It's her opener. She's got to go up. You know what I would have? Maybe I would have done a really bad thing from a show business perspective and outed the person. And this is just me. I'm just thinking how I would approach that. I was gonna open with a joke that she just stole from me. I mean,
Yep.
Did that cross your mind to do something like that?
Kind of, but I was still so like shocked and stunned that it had just happened that it was like I don't even have time to formulate like a good response, even if it is like a jab at it. So I waited till after the show to confront her. But like, oh man, yeah, that like really knocks the wind out of you, especially right before you're about to go up. You were set, you were ready, you're in the zone, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait, what? Like, and like she didn't even do it right. Like, if you're gonna do it, like at least like do it right.
Well, yeah, again, that would just really refuel my intent to just go up and trash the person by saying she stole my joke, but she fucked it up. Here's how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, that's true. That's. I hope to God I never have to do that again. But if I do, that's probably gonna be the situation.
Well, if I would do it, that's probably a reason not to do it. So just keep that in the back
I'm
of your
going to
mind.
agree with that wholeheartedly.
See, and there's something wrong with me because I'm thinking that's what you do.
My decision-making skills are not great either. So it's always a gamble.
Let me put this out there. I've interviewed I don't know how many comedians. I think Emma is one of maybe a very few who've ever actually had a joke stolen from him. As hot a topic as joke theft is, I don't talk to a lot of comedians who've actually had jokes stolen from them. Have any of you guys?
Know of?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've got jokes stolen left and right places. Like, I guarantee everything's off of an internet meme or, anything, even if it is another comic. But to have it done in front of you, I feel like is a much more rare occurrence than to hear either through the grapevine or just never hear it at all.
Yeah, that's extraordinary. It's that somebody actually steal. Melvin, has anybody stolen your material?
No, so like the thing is with my material, especially with like the type of scene that's out here in San Diego, there are a lot of people out here that can't say the N-word, and there's a lot of that in my material. So like I don't have to worry so much about that. You know what I'm saying?
Nincompoop.
Look, actually, I was told recently now it's the K word. There's another comic out here. It's like, what I'm saying, it's the same word, but instead you start it with a K, just like knife or knick-knack. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's actually brilliant. I'm going to start calling it the K word.
Yeah, the silent N word. Yeah.
The K is silent.
Exactly. But no, like I haven't necessarily. If it has happened, like kind of the same thing. Like I doubt they did it right. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain energy. There's a certain, you know what I mean? Like everybody's got their own stage presence. So if you did, if there has been somebody who has tried to take a joke of mine, good luck. Good luck. I doubt you have the emotional traumatic attachment to the joke regardless.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Regardless of if the joke is personal or not, it's still personally written, and you frame that joke around who you are too, and not off of anyone else. So when someone that's a complete opposite of you, especially like on stage, does it and it doesn't hit, it almost makes you feel 10 times more angry, because you're like, if you're gonna do it, because now I can't even be like, that joke's mine, because they'd be like, oh, why? Like, they'd be like, it's still a
Why
shitty
do you got
joke.
that shitty joke?
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, but I did it first and I did it better, you know.
But I mean, there is also a certain feeling that comes with knowing your shit's worth stealing.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
That also, you know, it's a weird marker for yourself to be like, oh, I'm coming up with something that other people want to have, you know. And even my slow death bit, like, to hear a number of other performers tell me, man, I wish I'd have come up with that bit. That's probably one of the most satisfying things another performer can tell me.
Absolutely. I relate to
because
that.
that's actually a redone. That's a redo of something that's been like, you understand what I'm saying? It's like 20, 30 years old. It's funny that they would think that, oh, okay, never mind.
What?
Now, it's just the routine that he's doing, it's his. But the premise is like 20 or 30 years old. I mean, I've seen it in black and white and then all kinds of
Yeah.
So it's just how could they miss it?
Wow.
Right. Right.
Now the difference, and maybe you guys, because you're both musicians as well as comedians, this idea of people, if they find out you're a comedian, oh, be funny.
Ugh,
Oh,
say
be funny.
something funny.
As a musician, you know, it's different. Play me a song. Yeah, give me a guitar. I'll play you a song if it'll get you to leave me alone and satisfy you that I actually am what I say I am. But comedians, when you're in a room, a party, or a social situation, oh, be funny. How do you react to that?
Stick around. I'm going to say something out of pocket. Something's going to come out of my mouth that's going to be outrageous, and you're going to love it. And that's just the whole shit about it. You know, I feel like that's where I think that's kind of where like the on the spot kind of comedy thing comes in, because like it's like, oh, you do stand up, tell me a joke, and it's just like, what do you want to hear a fucking knock joke?
Right, like what one liner do you just have carrying around in your pocket? Like,
you know what I mean?
Oh.
I think I'd probably say no.
Yeah. Well,
I always tell them it's a 2-drink minimum. That's literally my line every single time.
I like that.
I agree with
for me, it just depends on my mood. It's really situational.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that like either one of two things, because I used to get upset about it. I used to get mad. And like usually I'd ask them what they did, and as soon as they tell me, I'd be like, all right, well, give me like whatever the fuck your job produces right fucking now.
You're an astrophysicist.
Oh, you don't want to
fucking
do that? Oh, you just want to relax and do you? Okay, great. You know, but that usually will get the other people around to laugh, but not the person who asked me to laugh, which is what your out is. You got to be funny enough that the people around them will laugh, and maybe that person doesn't laugh. They kind of feel small, but I don't want to necessarily make people feel small anymore. So it's kind of like Melvin said, hey, you know what? If you just observe and let me be me, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Nice. But otherwise, you can come catch a show. Like and like I usually got these little show bills of an upcoming show on my person, so I can just hand them a little handbill and be like, you know, you can either wait for me to be me in this party, or you can come to this show. You know what I mean?
I do. So you would say like, fill me a Christian prescription.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do like the 2-drink minimum thing, because like for me it's like I don't necessarily drink much. You know, I'm California sober, so I feel like instead it's like, oh, 2-drink minimum is like, hey, go get me a bag of chips and a Gatorade, you piece of shit. That's
2-snack minimum. Yep.
You know,
pay the bag.
Like you want a joke on the spot? Where's the turkey sandwich on the spot? How about that?
Yeah, right. Come to me when you got something good. I feel like people look at it like a challenge. Like, oh, you're a comedian, make me laugh. You know,
exactly.
Like that's not really what I do. It's not a contest when I get up there. You know, it's not like you're gonna like drag me off the stage with a cane or something. You know, like that's not really how it works.
I
kind of subjective.
a guy I know, both his parents are stand-up comedians, and he is a videographer by trade and a photographer. And he said he was giving it up. He was going to start doing stand-up comedy. And a guy said, "Oh, let me see a little bit of your act." And he said, "That's the most annoying thing." Like totally tore into the guy. Basically, that is you're the one person every comedian hates, and don't ever do that again.
Oh, I've told people that are like that have always said like, you should use this as a joke. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. Like,
Yeah.
we appreciate the input, but like, we'll write the jokes. Like, leave that to us. We're good.
Or the other part of that is because I've had that kind of situation in music, and I had a guy who came up to me on stage, and basically after a gig, and he was telling me about a cover song that we played, and he's like, and keep in mind now, one guitar, bass, and drums, and we're doing songs that are like orchestrated. There are two guitars, piano, whatever, and he's trying to tell me I wasn't playing the guitar part just like the record. And like, of course I'm not, because I'm trying to play two guitar parts at once. But my response wasn't that. It was like, "Where are you gigging tonight?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you're here watching my gig.
Honestly, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you're gonna be a fucking hypocrite, how about you grab a guitar, strap the fuck in, and fucking contribute to this fantasy that you have? You fucking weirdo, you sadist.
Well, I didn't go that far, but yeah, that's basically.
We're talking about tearing into people, telling people the truth.
Yeah.
The truth.
Well, it's the same with like hecklers. Even they start talking too much, or they start like running their mouths. You just sit there and be like, "Look, there's a reason all of these chairs are facing me, like, and not you, buddy."
Right.
That's really what it comes down to. So let themselves hang themselves with their own stupidity. And
aside from heckling, the other part of it is the people who just feel like they're going to ignore the comedian on stage and just have a conversation with the people sitting there. Now, they're not running it just for themselves and the people at the table, but all the tables around them.
The people around them, yeah.
That's as frustrating. I'd rather deal with the heckler than that one person who just forgot that they came to a comedy club and they paid to listen to the person on stage speak, and they just want to talk about other stuff. That is more annoying than heckling. Yes or no?
No, agreed.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. At least the heckler, you can tell, is like kind of watching, like they see what you're doing. But if you're just on your phone, that's when I think it's totally fine for comedians and hosts to just call their shit out and be like, "Hey, who you talking to?" and just give the phone to them, and then just embarrass them a little bit, like really just put enough there that they're like, "Ah, shit, you're right." Like,
because the people that are bothering in the audience are pissed too.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Rightfully so. They paid, like.
Right.
I've never been heckled at a show. Now, if I'm headlining people that came to see me, they don't say any shit. They don't.
You've been heckled on this show.
I mean, a real show, comedy show.
A real show.
One where I'm being paid. One when I'm being paid. I've never been heckled at a show where I was period. Not as a headliner or a feature or even as a host. But if I'm the headliner, people who come to see me, they don't talk because they know that it's a different kind of show. It's like
you'll pull a knife out. They know you're pulling a knife.
That's it. They pull out genitals, but they don't talk. Now, if I'm not the headliner and I see that the crowd is like that kind of crowd, I literally go from table to table while I'm walking, and I like befriend the audience. I gently do a preemptive strike, so now they have a connection to me. And when I go up, they shut the fuck up because wait a minute, we know this guy, we're going to respect him. But that's what I do. I'm not saying it's going to work for everybody, but I do a preemptive strike and I work the audience because if they're already disruptive, I'm trying to quell the audience for the comedians, but also for myself mainly.
We're losing. You're having some Wi-Fi or connectivity issues there. I think the people working on your house are actually pulling your router out at this moment.
For me, I think because I've had situations where obviously doing like dive bars, like earlier on, those are like the harder crowds to get like roped in. But like I personally have like a pretty big stage presence. Like I'm a fairly tall black dude. You don't see a lot of that here in San Diego. and then I'm loud with or without a mic. You don't see a lot of that, especially in comedy. A lot of us are kind of soft spoken. You know what I mean? We've got inside voices, and we're socially awkward. Allegedly, is what they say. I think most recently, the last time I had somebody where they were just kind of like in their own conversation, just loud as shit in the middle of my set. I like stopped her. She had a full leg brace on. I stopped her and was like, I'm questioning her, picking her brain, picking her, what I'm saying, what's going on with the leg? What happened with that? Since whatever the fuck you're talking about is more important than whatever the fuck I'm talking about. Let's talk about the leg, because now I'm curious. And she was just like, oh, like she tore she tore something. And I was like, you know what you should do? You should go have babies with a black guy. Your kids will be fine. She gave me like some bullshit excuses to how she tore it. It's like, you got to get those genetics in there, man. Mix the genetics up. Break up the family. Piss off great grandpa.
Yeah.
I have a question. I have a question for, since I have.
Hold on, before this question. Earlier on in the show, Willie was talking about being a host and the challenges of remembering to take care of all the business. It's time for me to say goodbye to Govs. First of all, notice I have not run a commercial on the show. That was pretty much the intent. But I forgot all that. But we do have to say goodbye to Govs Comedy Clubs right now. Govs, we'll see you next